Hey guys, what's happening? It's been a minute since we last chatted. I've really been enjoying my time talking to other creators and talking to people in the entertainment industry, but I feel like there's a next chapter that has to now start. I'm not sure how to go about it. So this is kind of where I need you to help me in a sense to decide almost how to go forward. I probably will just eventually go forward with some reason, but I think as I go, you guys can chime in and we can try and adjust. So a couple of things. The first is the Discord, I think, has been a great outlet for people to post work and chat, but I think it's entirely too dead. It seems like there's over about 200 people on the Discord, but almost always when I go on there, no one is talking. People sometimes come in and join after watching an episode of Digital Artcast and then immediately leave and just leave the server. This place is a ghost town, so why am I here? I started Discord. The aim was to have a kind of place where people could learn and share and grow and talk to each other. I don't feel like that's what it's doing right now, so I really need you guys to feedback and tell me what you think to help the Discord grow. There's probably a few things I could be doing, maybe weekly challenges, daily, I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff I want to go and try and observe in other people's Discords and then maybe bring it into mine, because there's no shame in copying. Like, if something works somewhere, don't reinvent the wheel. Let's just go bring it across the mines and see how it works. I also feel like there's a lot of people maybe joined and then basically don't use Discord anymore, so we have a lot of just ghost accounts. But yeah, there's a whole thing where I really want people to start growing. Almost probably the best answer for that is that if I had like a couple hundred more people on it, eventually just with a low average, people would start to communicate because there's just so many people there. But I have seen Discords where there's like 500-600 people, maybe more, and it's still like maybe one or two people talking. So that's a point I want to kind of try and address. Not a major one, but just kind of the first thing on my list that I thought of. The second is content creation. Now, this has been a point of contention for me for a long time. I love getting to use the word contention. Since I started this journey back in 2016, which is now, my God, more than 5 years ago, hit a couple of milestones, which I'm quite proud of. One is having a full-time job in the games industry. I'm currently, if you don't know, working for a studio called Fabricated Madness, and they're based in San Francisco. Yeah, so I'm working for an American games company. Fairly new, almost like an indie studio, but built off the back of veterans. So people who have been in the industry for a long time and have formed their own studio to do their own project, headed up by a guy called Matt Gazer. And Matt has been a good friend and mentor for years. He worked for Disney, Lucasfilm, Universal Pictures, Warner Brothers, Riot Games, Blizzard, a bunch of people. So yeah, getting to work under him every day is a true blessing. I love the guy a bit. It's not just like he's my boss, he is also a friend. That is an added bonus. Of course, I'm professional in every aspect where I need to do my job, but it's like hanging with your kind of best friend every day, and it's a great experience. I really need to get him on the podcast at one point, him and his president of the company, Rolf, talk more about the Dr. Zamzi project. If you guys don't know, I'll link it down below. You can check it out. It's not purely a crypto business. The whole point of Zamzi is that we're going to build a fantastical world. I think at one point rival Star Wars. I think it really is that much of an incredible project. Talking animated series, video games, movies, the whole thing. And that's just one IP that Matt has from his years and years and years of creating worlds. So yeah, it's really exciting. So yeah, it's one of the milestones I've hit. A couple other ones are stuff like the podcast. We recently crossed 3,000 subscribers, a goal I've had for the last 6 months, and yeah, it's been great to pass that. It's always hard because I remember watching Casey Neistat back in the day when he talked about it took him like 5 years or almost 10 years or something like that to get to 10,000 followers. It took him like a year to get to 1 million. The first 10,000 or the first couple of thousand are like the hardest. After that, it almost kind of snowballs. So that's the next thing I want to do, is grow the channel. A few ideas I've had on how to do that. The ones I've kind of came up with recently have been ideas on vlogging. That in itself would be difficult because I don't know what I would cover from day to day, because I'm not like a usual YouTuber in the sense where, I'm not going on crazy vacations, I'm not going to anywhere really super exciting. I'm mostly staying at home these days and working from home. I haven't been to events in a couple of years because of COVID. Vlogging is one thing I think I would like to do at maybe specific events. So if I managed to go to THU this year, any other event, I would try and vlog as much as I could from the event, video prognosis of the whole event. So that's one idea that I've had. The other idea I've had was inspired by a YouTuber. I'm going to say YouTuber. I've just found her, so I don't know too much about her as a personality. Apologize if I'm not using the correct pronouns. Their name on YouTube is Dish. As far as I know, YouTuber of that caliber, pretty big, around 700,000 subscribers, which is pretty massive for YouTube. You're talking you're on the road to 1 million there, and that's a big difference. Usually in YouTube, as soon as you cross 1 million subscribers, that's when it's like your full-time job is YouTube. Like, you can live off YouTube basically. Fantastic for her. But the reason that I found the video, and the reason that I'm kind of having this conversation now about the video, on the 25th of April, which was about a week or two ago, she started a challenge where she was going to teach herself to draw in a year, which is a big ask for anybody, honestly. It's one of these things where it's hard when you set yourself these time goals whenever you don't meet up to the standards of, oh, I'm not learning this much by this date, or this by this date, or not hitting these goals. You start to get a bit demotivated. It's something that I've always tried to avoid in the past. Well, it's something Dish talks about. She talked about how she's always wanted to learn in private. You know, if you fail, then you are still hiding yourself from the outside world, so they can see that failure and then they can't judge you. I'm kind of getting to a point in my career where I don't really give a shit anymore. If people want to judge me, fine. It's never been something that I appreciated. It's something that I always kind of hated when people didn't automatically like me, but it's impossible, right? You can't have everybody on the planet like you. You know, you're setting yourself up for failure straight away with even something like that expectation, but that is impossible. You know, the more I think about it, my biggest strength in the industry has been my networking, but also the fact that I'm very transparent online with the struggles and how hard it has been to work and get a job in the games industry. You know, I'm very lucky in a sense that one of my good friends was starting a company and he thought about me, which was great. But then if Matt hadn't came along last year, I don't know where it would be. You know, I probably would still be sitting here contemplating life, thinking what to do next. Yeah, I just want to do something that's going to change my life. There's a couple of goals I have in the next couple of years. Basically, if you guys don't know, I am 36 years old. Yeah, old AF crew right here. In a couple of months, I will be turning 37. It's not a huge milestone, of course. The big even numbers are usually the ones that people, you know, celebrate. So you've got, you know, 20, 30, you know, those kind of goals. Those kind of numbers are the ones that people focus on, you know, in about 3 years, which seems really far away, but at the same time, not really far away. In 3 years, I'll be 40, and that's going to be a huge milestone. I don't know where I'll be. I don't know what I'll be doing. I'm trying not to think about the future too much. Focus on the present. Yeah, I have a few goals before I reach that age. There's a couple of things I want to do, which seems ambitious. I must admit, a couple of things I have in my head, it does seem ambitious, 100%. I want to try these things, and over the course of a couple of years, sure, it's going to definitely be a journey and a lot of work, but I'm tired of giving myself the excuse that I'm too busy and I can't. You know, I've got too much on, or I'm too busy, or, you know, I don't have energy after work and all this kind of stuff. I don't at the same time want to work myself into an early grave. You know, of course I don't want to be making stupid hours doing stuff. I'm not really. I've been relatively lazy the last couple of years. I say that from a perspective of the fact that I know I could have been working harder at points. I know I have worked hard. There's definitely times where I've sat and played a video game, watched TV. I know you guys are thinking, Gordon, you're crazy. Of course, everybody takes time to themselves. Like, why would you not watch TV? Why would you not read a book or play a game? I've done that too much. The problem with my career is that although I have made some strides and been able to get hired and have freelance work and do other things, I know that I do slack sometimes in areas and can spend sometimes a whole day doing nothing. That also comes with what I believe is a version of high functioning anxiety. Not diagnosed. You know, when I look at my life, the way I react to stuff, the way I think, yeah, I definitely think there's some form of anxiety, depression, something going on that has been going on for a long time, and it's not easy. It really isn't easy to deal with that every day and be super productive in your work. The one thing that has pushed me forward, though, and always has, since I've been, really young. I mean, I started making videos on YouTube when the service was like just becoming a thing. 2008, I think, is maybe my first video on YouTube. You can go hunt that down if you think you can find that, but it's on there. You'll probably be able to find it at one point. Content creation as a full-time job, I think, has been a dream for a long time. It's a difficult one to do, 100%, especially in the landscape we're in right now, where most things are very oversaturated. TikTok's a great tool, YouTube's a great system, you know, Google, Facebook, Instagram, they're all built to help promote yourself as a brand. That's awesome, 100%, that's awesome, but it's a full-time job, it really is. And I think if you're trying to also have a full-time job next to that other full-time job, it can be very stressful. You know, there's a lot of hours you've got to put in to really stand above the rest and make sure people are seeing you and seeing your content also. So yeah, it's a big ask to be a full-time content creator in this day and age. Not impossible, 100% not impossible, but a lot of work and a lot of luck as well, which I believe luck is one of these things where the way I see luck is that it's preparedness plus opportunity. So if you're prepared for something, you've been putting in the work, and then an opportunity comes along, that's luck. That's you, right? I'm in the right place, I'm in the right time, bang, opportunity. You know, say I was making art, you know, professionally and really keeping up my chops and training, and then, you know, next year, for instance, just for theoretically, Blizzard emails me, you know, hey Gordon, we've got an art position we think you'd be great for. Boom, slot into that job because I'm prepared for it, and the opportunities come along. So that for me is what luck is the opportunity meets the reality of you being prepared. Yeah, there's a couple of things that are definitely floating about the old head about content creation. Getting to the kind of meat of it, you know, 15 minutes into this scenario of me talking to the camera at 1 a.m. But yeah, a couple of things that I have goals for the next couple of years on the road to 40. The first one is kind of non-art related, but more, I suppose, content creation related, that people could obviously watch as it goes along, is weight loss. It's been a big thing that has plagued me for most of my life since I was about 20, I want to say 23, maybe 24. I started to seriously pile on weight through multiple factors, obviously, not just one thing. And then I left my job when I was like 27, 28, and that's when it really started to pile on, because my job at the time was very physically demanding. Well, not physically demanding as like it was killing me every day, but like there was enough motion in what I'd done every day that I didn't really have to exercise outside of my work, because I was either like, you know, walking for a long time, digging, out and about most of the day. But now, since I've turned a hobby into a career, you know, most of my days is sat behind a computer. So that's obviously not great for my health. You know, sitting is the new smoking. That's when the weights, they started to, you know, just really pile on. And I've been pretty heavy for the last couple of years. I'd say since lockdown. Even prior to lockdown, I was kind of getting back to a place where my weight was manageable. But now, since COVID hit, like, yeah, everything's just went out of the window. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying it as it is. You know, some people use COVID as an excuse to get fit. 100% props to them. That's fantastic. But for me, it had the opposite effect. I think because I was already kind of suffering from anxiety and depression, I think that when COVID hit, it just kind of piled on top of that, and it did make things easy. The props to me also, you know, just making it through COVID and just honestly getting out of bed every day and sitting down and learning and just keeping our portfolio fresh, I think has been a great triumph the last couple of years. I'm very proud of where I've got to. I could have went the way of people I've seen who really suffered with depression, anxiety, and not got out of my bed all day. Not saying that I haven't had those days, I 100% have, but most days I would try and get up and do something. I would try and get up and learn, watch a tutorial, listen to a talk, draw, paint, 3D model, something to keep myself going. Really stupid, and it seems so small, but like those little acts of just doing stuff, it's a triumph every day. I know some people who are so weighted down with depression and anxiety, getting up and having a shower for them is like a win. That's their whole day. If they can at least get out of bed and wash themselves, pat in the back, you know, I done something today. But for me, my days were never that simple, because, you know, I had the Artcast, I had, you know, the trappings of trying to get a career and a job sorted, and yeah, I couldn't really afford to sit still, so I had to really force myself every day just to get up and do something. It wasn't easy, 100% was not, but I done it. So yeah, my weight, definitely one thing I want to address is that. The second, the content creation, as we were talking about earlier. So before 40, I definitely want to have a subscriber goal for YouTube, and like, you know, a goal for maybe Twitch and stuff like that. I think the easiest one to measure is YouTube. I think a lot of things feed back into YouTube and will feed back into YouTube. So I think by the time I reach 40, which is 3 years from now, I would like to have 10,000 subscribers, which I know is maybe asking a lot, because if you look at the steady progress over the last 5-6 years, I've made 3,000. Yeah, I think I can get to 10. It might never happen, but like, I'm bloody willing to try. So yeah, that's it. So weight loss is one, content creation, which comes in many multiple forms, which I think will be like YouTube videos, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok. I'll try and link all my socials below. I have a link tree as well, which I'll leave, and that's got most of my links in it. The Patreon as well, I would like to grow the Patreon. I would like to have 1,000 patrons by 40 as well. If everybody didn't donated $1 and I had 1,000 patrons, that would be $1,000 a month. That, you know, that's enough money for me to live off easily. Like, I could actually leave work at that point and just live off that, if you know, if I really wanted to. I'm not going to, obviously. It'd just be another revenue of income, but yeah, it'd be good to just have some support on the channel. And I really just want to get into teaching eventually. I think I would really love to teach, because I just love people and helping people grow and seeing people like explode and you know, obtain amazing things because I helped them get there. You know, the channel for me has been great the last couple of years because it's gave me a platform to really help people. And when I went to Lightbox in 2019, one of the greatest things that happened to me was getting recognized. And it's not really an ego thing. I mean, I do love it, do not get me wrong. I absolutely love when people recognize me. It totally fills and feeds my ego, not in a bad way. It just makes me feel validated in a sense that what I'm doing is getting through to people. But also the fact that people would come up to me and talk about how the podcast had, you know, helped them land a job, helped them, you know, figure out how to network, who to talk to, what to learn, you know, by listening to people. That was the biggest thing that moved me at that conference, was the amount of people in Los Angeles that would come up to me and say, I recognize your voice. Oh, you're Gordon. You know, I listen to Digital Artcast, you know, every month. I wait for your episodes. I totally love what you're doing. There's no bigger compliment. Like, I don't know how I could top that. Stories that I've told people of meeting people randomly just and they're like, oh yeah, like I know who you are. Like I've listened to your podcast, or I've seen you at events, or, you know, that kind of stuff. It fills my heart with joy, and it just makes everything worth it. On the days that I couldn't get out of bed, that was the stuff that kept me going, because obviously Lightbox happened just before COVID hit, almost 2 months after I got back home. That's when the pandemic basically hit fever pitch. Those dark days, that was the stuff that kept me just going. I kept on keeping on, because I thought about all those people who wanted to listen to the podcast. You know, I've had people email me, I'm leaving my job because of you, and I'm going back to art school because you inspired me. There's no bigger compliment, man. Like, I mean, why could you not, or how could you not love that people are so inspired about my journey, they want to copy it, they want to basically emulate it. I've had numerous emails from people, messages, you know. It's been one of the greatest pleasures of my life. So content creation is one. Now we'll circle back to that, because that's a big one I want to talk about in the next couple of minutes. The third one is, I want to put out a book. Writing a book, a lot of people can do it, but writing a good book, one that's really informative and educational, that's the trick. I don't know what I would talk about. I did have an idea about talking about networking and how, specifically in the art industry, how it's helped me, how to do it, you know, how to utilize it properly. That's something I've kind of hovered over the last couple of years, and also maybe just a little bit about my journey and talk to people about what I went through. So writing a book is another goal, and I think 3 years is more than enough to do it. Definitely give myself that deadline of 3 years, as, you know, a lot of breathing room, but then it can take a lot of years to really research and write a good book. So that's one thing I thought about. The other was obviously art instruction, but I don't think it's worth me doing it. It's like Feng Zun said way back in the day, that people were like, they want him to write an art book, and he was like, the guy I learned off, Scott Robertson, who is the best, has wrote an art book called How to Draw. You know, I can't top that. If you want to go learn how to draw, go read Scott's book. And I would say the same. Like, I don't think I can do anything fresh with art and learning. You know, maybe specifically one day I could teach people how I learned how to learn art. You know, that may be a thing that you could do, but more through YouTube videos. I think that would be, you know, relevant. I don't think the book thing would really help with the learning process. I think if people wanted tips, I would just sit in here on, you know, in front of my camera, talk to you guys and say, look, these are the things that helped me. There's a bunch of things that I want to write about. So I'm not saying that the book will be out and published in 3 years. It's just a goal I want to have, maybe even like a first draft by the time I'm 40. The book could also be something that ties into the big thing I want to talk about. Like, the big thing I want to talk about is something that could also work within a book structure. It's pretty dangerous, this thing I'm going to talk about, because it has the potential to blow up in my face, like most things I suppose, but you know, I've done well so far. So you've got weight loss, content creation, the book. That's 3 things. Why I said I was going to circle back around to content creation is because And the book, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. I want to learn to draw. Shocker. I've wanted to learn to draw forever. Most people know this. Okay, so here's the thing. Here's why it's different this time. I now have a full-time job that pays me money. So the pressure of learning is off in a sense, because I have an outlet for creativity for money, right? So I don't have to learn and train and teach myself in the vein that this needs to feed me, this needs to pay my bills, this needs to be something that needs to happen really, really quickly because I have no other income, and the creditors or debtors are knocking on my door. The wage I get paid from Matt is good. It's a very good, I mean, it's a San Francisco wage that I get to spend here in Scotland. Yeah, it means that I've now got free time at night where I can, put down my tools for my day job and do something at night that doesn't have to be stressful, because there's no real pressure. There's no real thing that's making me feel bad if I'm not doing well at it. At the same time, I think it's also going to be good to learn something as a hobby, because when you treat it like a full-time job straight away, you're almost instantly ripping the fun out of it and making it really hard. I don't want to do that. So yeah, this is a mini goal. The mini goal I think is doable, and that is I want to be switching to full-time 2D art by the time I'm 40. And I don't know what's going to happen with my job in the next couple of years, obviously. I can't guarantee the future of the company or what's going to happen with the game, but I think give myself 3 years is more than enough. And I've seen people do it in that time. The reason I'm saying 3 years also is because I've seen people who are super dedicated. I'm talking like some of the hardest working illustrators and concept dudes in the industry. 3 years seems to be the average for knowing absolutely nothing about drawing to basically working full time as a 2D artist. There's a couple of reasons I want to do it. One of them is it's been a lifelong dream. I've always wanted to be a 2D artist. 3D at the moment is paying the bills. It's something that I'm good at, good enough that I can get paid professionally for it. I've been approached by some very large studios to work for them doing 3D, and of course I have my job now with Matt, so I know that skill set is developed. Although I will also be learning 3D in a sense, I always want to try and keep that skill fresh. I want to at night, in my free time, focus on 2D, and that again circles back down to content creation, because I want to basically do I think a weekly update would be enough. I was almost going to say daily, but I think that's too much pressure, because even organizing a video, recording, editing, uploading, I think every day, that in a sense would be stressful enough. And I also think that there won't be enough learning from day to day that I can really fill a whole video talking about stuff. The way I'm going to learn, the structured way I'm going to learn is through a classroom setting. A lot of people learn differently. Some people can watch videos, can study from life, can do multiple other things. I'll also be, I'll be drawn from life, obviously. I'm going to be doing studies of stuff in museums, parks, buildings, whatever. The structured learning, the classroom stuff, is going to come from Artwad, who sponsors this channel. Antonio has been a friend of the channel for a long time now. I mean, I think I met him first back in 2018, industry workshops, and ever since then I've basically shouted from the rooftops how incredible his system is. Artwad is incredible. It's one of the best learning tools for drawing. Honestly, at this point in the industry, there is nothing better. Seriously, there isn't. I mean, one-on-one lessons with things like CGMA or Nomon, 100% different. That's usually from people who are at a skill level where they want to then take like the super leap from like, my stuff's really good but not good enough to work, so now I need that extra bump into professional portfolio pieces. So they go to CGMA for a term and do like a bunch of assignments, and then use that stuff in the real. Same with Nomon, you'd go there with a base level understanding of the craft. You can draw in 2D, and then you get that extra high level instruction from people who are already in the industry, and then you're bumped into a studio with the replacement scheme. So yeah, there's different ways to learn online, but Antonio's has always been one that has head and shoulders above the rest, being the best way to learn. Antonio himself is a great teacher, which is rare. Not all artists are good teachers. It's very rare to find people who are both good artists and art teachers. So Antonio seems to do both, because Yes, he has the school and he teaches online, but he also works professionally with multiple high-level clients. In fact, Antonio has just recently formed his own studio, which he is now actually pulling students from Artwad into to make the studio. One of his students, Alex, I forget Alex's name, but I will leave the details down below. You can check out Alex's work, and also I'll try and put up some of his artwork just now. But yes, Alex was a student of Antonio's for the last 3 years since Artwad started. He basically studied every day, done assignments every day, handed in stuff every day for 3 years, and then he got to a point basically where Antonio was like, "You're good enough, you know, doing professional work at a professional level. So why don't you come work for me in my studio? Because I have contacts." You know, Antonio was like, "I have contacts. I have people who want me to do stuff. So let's do it. You know, and you can come work for me." So Alex is now a full-time employee of Antonio's studio, which is a great transition. Imagine the person who taught you how to draw is now you're also your employer that's giving you work. So it's a great system, and Antonio really has, you know, made a niche for himself, something really, really incredible. In the next 3 years, by the time I'm 40, I would like to transition full-time into 2D. I think a year is way too little of a time frame. I think it wouldn't give me enough time to develop. But saying that, who knows? You know, I'm not going to put any, you know, expectations on it. I'm just going to try my best to fulfill this goal and see where I get. So basically, the measure of that will be by the time I turn 40, 3 years, just a little over 3 years, I have to have at least one paid gig doing 2D art, and I can tick that off the list, basically. And if I don't do it by the time I'm 40, I can do it by the time I'm 45. I don't know. I'm not stretching the goal already. I'm just saying that I don't want to be a marker in place for me to fail. Also because 3D also is, you know, paying the bills. So, you know, who knows that I might get, you know, another great opportunity with 3D and want to pursue that more than the 2D. I don't know. You know, everything's still up in the air. I'm still going to treat this as a hobby up until the point I get paid to do it. And I will be using Antonio's system exclusively to learn. I'll also be using the vast array of books that I have behind me. I have many instructional books, many art books that I can draw from. That's something I'm also going to be utilizing in this challenge. I don't know if I want to call it a challenge, but yeah, let's just say it's a challenge. That's basically it. That's the whole thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, was basically just, you know, the weight loss, the content creation, and the book. And of course within that content creation, the art, the 2D art stuff. So the way that's going to play out, and it won't start I think exclusively this month, but next month maybe, once I get everything set up, once I've got, you know, the method for Antonio down, I need to get a couple of things set up here as well so I can kind of film stuff. Yeah, kind of get a system in place and try a couple of things with videos and then upload them, see what you guys think. So probably next month in June, I'll start it. I'll probably do an update video every week. I don't know what I'm going to call it. I have no idea. It'll be something by 40. I know people do this whole thing where they exercise to lose weight and they do fit by 40. So it's like, you know, they want to be fit by 40. That's like a goal. Maybe I'll just call the playlist 40. I don't know. Okay, I'll think of something. So I'll do weekly updates. I might try to live stream on YouTube. Another thing I'm trying to contemplate is, do I want to do the drawing thing on Digital Artcast channel? You know what I mean? Should I make it a separate thing? Should I make it another part of Artcast as one thing, and I'll have another channel that's just dedicated to drawing? That's a difficult call, because then you're starting again from nothing, right? You're starting again from having 0 viewers, having 0 subscribers. Would that be worse? I don't know. You guys can tell me in the comments. Okay, I need to wrap this video up because we're nearly at 40 minutes. I don't know what I'm going to cut it down to. I'm going to have to try and get it down to about half an hour. But yeah, if you guys have any suggestions, if you have any comments on what I'm doing, if you think this is absolutely batshit crazy, please tell me. But I want you guys to be involved as much as possible, and give me your feedback and thoughts on what you think. Yeah, we can talk about more stuff later on. I'll probably do another Thinking Out Loud soon. Maybe talk about my process so far with drawing, what I've learned. I'm not a complete beginner. I can probably draw better than your average person, but that's probably not going to give me any advantage. Anyway, we'll talk about it in the next video. But until then, guys, yeah, I hope this has been something you've enjoyed. It's totally different from what I usually do when I do the Thinking Out Loud videos, although most of them are just me talking at a mic. And yeah, let me know what you think, and if you made it this far, thank you, and I hope to see you in the next video.